Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. And one of our favorite things is beer from friends. That's where this comes from. This is courtesy of Sean from Nerd Sense. He sent this off as in a little package of a reciprocation of a beer mail that I sent him. And I've been sitting on it for a couple months now, and I'm just like, I'm in the mood for a Saison. Let's dive into it. Saison du Row from Trillium Brewing in collaboration with Row 34. As you can see there. Row 34. If you've ever been to the OG Trillium location, it's about the size of my shed. Like, literally, it was just growlers to go. Pretty much. I don't even know if they did... Yeah, they did bottles and cans, obviously, and at the beginning. Actually, everything was pretty much in 750s back then, too. So 750s, growlers to go. And it was a little retail space. You go in there, you get beer, you go out the door. And when you walk out the door, you're pretty much right next to Row 34. The restaurant, they kind of did a bunch of stuff with Collab-wise. Very good food, very good beer. So this is kind of a collab they've done with them. Now, what kind of collab? I don't know. Let's read and see if we can find out. Brewing Row 34, and it just says, that's it. Saison du Row. My assumption, because I know nothing about the beer, because I'm not going to look it up, is that this might be like the table house beer for this. I assume, total guess on my part, it'd be totally wrong, but I assume if they're going to collaborate on a beer, it's going to be kind of like a food-based kind of table beer that you would get well at Row 34. Let's see if we can get an ABV on this. Oh, 7%. It's not a table beer, but anyway. We're going to dive into it and see what's what. So, it's kind of warm. Not the beer, me, in the shed. This place gets mighty toasty during the day when it's a nice day out. And it was a nice day out. We're in the evening now, but still kind of holds in heat because I insulated the crap out of it still. Yeah, I kind of like that, though. It used to be a little bit less tolerable, the heat. I don't know if you noticed on camera all that much, but from when my son was born till now, I've probably lost about 30 pounds. So I'm just a little bit better equipped to deal with heat and stuff like that. Label-wise, I really do dig that. It's nice, kind of clean, classy, what you'd expect of a kind of a collaboration with a fancy pants, technical term, fancy pants restaurant. As far as the beer goes, I mean, it looks all the part of what you'd expect from a Saison. Just has that nice, beautiful haze straw colored kind of glow to it. Let me turn off my fridge. Turn it off. I need to get a quieter beer fridge. Yeah, it has that nice straw colored look to it. Big head on it because I pour beers awesomely. And it has the ever so slightest bit of haze to it. It's more of like a chill haze on there, but if I give it a little rub, you can see it's got a little haze to it, but nothing too crazy. Soft little snow globy kind of carbonation to it. Definitely it looks all a part of being purty. See if you get a nose. Yeah, it is very much malt driven, almost like there's a touch of like a honey malt kind of vibe to it. So it's a nice, a semi-sweet kind of, it's not necessarily getting up the crystal malt. It's more like a combination of a wheat kind of two-row kind of thing going for me, with a touch of like a honey kind of vibe. So maybe there's a little bit of honey malt kind of floating around in there. This soft little citrusy vibes to it could be coming from a yeast component. Could also be coming from a soft hop dosage, but nothing too crazy. Soft, quaffable, if you will. Aromatic notes. We're just going to dive in. Cheers, y'all. Okay. I'm right-handed. I don't know why you don't put the bottle over here. Put the beer there. Wouldn't that make much more sense? Then I block my oscilloscope, so that ain't happening. Anyway, that's tasty. It's got a nice sturdy maltiness to it. It does have that soft little honey vibe to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's honey malt, even a dose of honey put in here, or maybe like the yeast you're using comes from some kind of natural kind of honeycomb or something along that. But it has this soft little, like, not like they added honey a bunch to it, but it just has this honey kind of vibe going on. Honeysuckle, actually, more floral like honeysuckle if anything else. But the malt is nice. It's sturdy, but at the same time super, almost getting to the lager level of drinkable. There is a nice bitterness. I believe you're getting both a bitterness from a decent amount of hopping with age, probably. I have no idea how old this is. How old is this, Sean, by the way? But you also get this little pepperiness from the yeast that kind of accentuates that kind of bitterness. Hops are very much utilitarian here, but I can't just turn away from that soft little citrus note in combination with that honey thing and thinking maybe it's coming from there. This is a really tasty beer. Really, really tasty beer. It kind of reminds me of a more bittering, more peppery version of Tank 7. I say that with very much kind of like high praise because I think Tank 7 is sneaky one of the best kind of Belgian-y, lowy, or Belgian Saison-y kind of beers out there. But it's creepily drinkable to the point where I'm drinking something way closer to 5% than 7%. But I dig this quite a bit. Thank you very much, Sean. Very much for me, if I'm going to kind of place this at food, which is kind of makes sense with it being a collab with Row 34. This is like during or right after main course. It's that. The word aggressive, I don't want to use that. It's sturdy. I keep wanting to use the word sturdy here. It's sturdy enough to hold up to something big and boisterous flavor-wise, but it's also kind of like a wind down, the precursor of a dessert. It kind of works that way when it comes, the way it drinks for me. I know it kind of comes off as a beer, but it is that cool combination of that nice malt base with those honey vibes throughout, the way you get that nice peppery bittering from the yeast and the actual hops itself, and that soft little citrus thing floating around in the background, more pineapple than anything else, but very, very subtle. It's kind of fluttering back there as a third player. Just makes this beer super drinkable. I won't say super chuggable, but 7%. You're gonna get danger Will Robinson at chugging this sucker. But really tasty stuff. Really pretty beer. It's probably the best way I could describe a word I haven't used yet is pretty. Very pretty. While it does have a little bit of boisterousness to it, it very much rests its laurels on prettiness. And a very tasty beer. One of the best, let's put it this way, one of the best beers I've ever had from Trillium. It's a lot to say. You know what I mean? They made some very, very good beers, and this is definitely one of them. Let's talk about it. Trillium. Have you been to the brewery? Have you been to the old location by Row 34? Have you been to the new locations? Have you had a bunch of their beers? Have you the old school stuff, new school stuff? Have you had this particular beer in general? I want to know. I want to know these things. Let's talk about it down there. Mount Rushmore status, Saisons, as of late, absolutely. It's worthy of being up there. Very, very tasty stuff. And like I said, super appreciative that Sean was nice enough to share a bottle with me. And just, if anybody out there knows price point, Sean or anybody else, let me know how much this costs. In a perfect world, what is this probably? What size is this bottle? It's more than 500 mil, right? Nope, 500 mil. I want this to be sub $10. I doubt it's that. But anybody who knows, throw it down there. Let's talk about this stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little Trillium right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.